Dak Prescott's blind side still isn't safe. Inside the Cowboys' LT gamble, Dak Prescott finished among the top 5 quarterbacks in QBR last season, and he still got knocked around more than almost anyone else in the league. One position on the Dallas Cowboys offense is responsible for a lot of that punishment, and heading into 2026, the answer to who protects his blind side is still very much up in the air. There's a former first round pick trying to prove he belongs, a backup with real starting experience of his own, and a franchise legend quietly showing up to help out behind the scenes. By the end of this, you'll understand why this one position could shape everything else the Cowboys try to do on offense this year. Let's start with the basics, because the numbers here are hard to ignore. Dak Prescott was pressured 142 times in 2025. He was sacked 31 times, and according to reporting from Blogging the Boys, a significant portion of that pressure traced directly back to the left tackle spot. For a quarterback who still managed to play at a top 5 level statistically, that's a remarkable amount of interference to deal with. It also raises an obvious question. How much better could Prescott have been with more time in the pocket, and how much better could he be in 2026 if that problem gets fixed? That brings us to the man currently expected to hold that job. Tyler Guyton was a first round pick, and he started 21 games across his first 2 NFL seasons. That's meaningful experience for a young tackle, but the tape and the numbers tell a tougher story. Guyton has missed 15 games due to injury, and he's given up 54 total pressures over those 2 years. He did clean up his penalty numbers last season, bringing them down to 7, which is a real sign of progress in terms of discipline. But penalties and pressures are two different problems, and the pressure issue is the one that directly affects whether Dak Prescott gets hit or not. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer has been fairly direct about what he sees from Guyton. He's praised his athletic ability, calling him one of the most athletic big men he's been around in terms of his ability to kick, slide, punch, move, and run. But he's also been clear that the consistency simply hasn't been there yet. That's an important distinction. Teams don't usually worry about traits with a player like Guyton. They worry about repeatability. Can he do the right thing on snap after snap, series after series, without the mental or technical lapses that lead to a quarterback getting hit? That's the challenge Schottenheimer says Guyton has been working extremely hard on this offseason. And that's important because right behind Guyton is a player who isn't exactly a finished product either. Nate Thomas was drafted much later than Guyton in the same class, and he's only started 4 games at left tackle in his career. That's a small sample size to lean on if Guyton falters. Thomas also gave up 28 pressures in his limited action, so it's not as if he's shown he's clearly the safer option. According to the Cowboys, this is officially an open competition between the two of them. Whether that's a genuine evaluation or simply a coaching tactic to light a fire under Guyton is something even people close to the situation aren't fully certain about. As Blogging the Boys' RJ Ochoa put it, there isn't anybody who feels completely confident in the plan at left tackle right now, or even that there fully is one yet. There's another layer worth mentioning here too. Rookie Drew Shelton is technically part of the tackle picture, but at this stage, he's viewed as very much a last resort option rather than a real competitor for the job. And last year, the Cowboys even had rookie Tyler Smith take some snaps at left tackle out of necessity, though he also allowed 5 pressures in that time. None of this paints the picture of a position group that's settled. It paints the picture of a team trying to find stability at one of the most important spots on the entire roster, protecting the quarterback's blind side, without a lot of proven, dependable options to choose from. Now here's where it gets a little more encouraging, because both candidates appear to be taking real steps forward this offseason. Dak Prescott himself addressed the competition after minicamp, and his comments were notably supportive of both players. He said that Guyton and Thomas are both huge to this team, that they're going to push each other, and that he loves the way both of them approach the game. That's a quarterback who has clearly been paying close attention to how his protection is developing, which makes sense given how much contact he took last season. There's also a mentorship angle that's worth bringing up because it says something about the culture around this competition. Former Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith, the player Guyton essentially replaced, has been showing up at the facility multiple times this offseason. Guyton has talked about learning from him, specifically pointing to Smith's posture as something he wants to incorporate into his own game. When you consider how respected Tyron Smith was during his time protecting Dak Prescott, having him informally mentor the young tackle trying to fill that same role is a meaningful development, even if it's not something that shows up in a stat sheet. And according to reporting from The Athletic, Guyton has been taking first team reps with the offense throughout minicamp. Insider John Machota described him as the clear favorite in the competition against Thomas at this point. Guyton himself has talked about the growth he's experienced heading into his third season, saying he's gotten stronger, gotten better at football, and picked up more technique along the way. He called it a learning process and said he plans to keep advancing going into this next season. So, where does that leave the Cowboys as training camp approaches? The optimistic read is that Guyton has the physical tools, he's taking the majority of the first team reps, and he's actively working with a respected veteran to refine the parts of his game that have been holding him back. The more cautious read is that none of that guarantees consistency actually shows up on Sundays, especially against the level of pass rushers he'll face in the NFC East and across a full 17-game schedule. And if it doesn't show up, the fallback options right now are a backup with only 4 career starts at the position, or a rookie who isn't expected to be ready for that kind of role yet. This matters well beyond just one position battle. Dak Prescott is one of the highest paid players on the roster, and how well he's protected directly impacts how effective this entire offense can be, how many opportunities Schottenheimer can call for the passing game, and ultimately how far this team can go. A tackle who's inconsistent isn't just a problem for Guyton individually. It's a problem that ripples through every other decision the coaching staff makes on offense. So here's the real question worth sitting with as camp gets underway. Given everything we know, the pressure numbers from last season, the reps Guyton has taken this offseason, and the mentorship from a Cowboys legend, do you believe Tyler Guyton is finally ready to lock down that left tackle spot, or does this competition stay open well into the regular season?